on me like you should. Think about roll through the hood. Problems, but everything's.
Hello! So, I think I'm gonna bring you guys with me today. So, I really want to record a video, but I don't know what to record. Hello, guys. That's my jam! Seeing how this background makes is it giving you everything. Hello!
Everything's all good.
Hello. Hey, y'all. Alright. Simply K back with another video. Currently watching Grey's Anatomy, catching up, but I was like, I need to make this video and I need to tell y'all about a little story time about my first nursing interview for a real job as a registered nurse. So a couple weeks ago, I had my first interview for an emergency department nurse residency at the top hospital that I actually want to work at. So I just want to tell you guys all about it, and I kind of wrote some notes so I can go in like the order that I want to. So I'm gonna insert a clip because I did record myself that day because I was so nervous and I was like, oh my gosh, like this would be something like really cool to record and let you guys be in on while I was actually there when I was in the car before I got out to go do this interview. So I do have a little clip. I'm gonna insert it and y'all can watch that. But I didn't record after because after I called my mom and I was like, oh my gosh, guess how it went, like, and told her everything, and we literally were on the phone for like 45 minutes. So by the time I got back to school, I was already out of my clothes, like on to the next thing. So I didn't record anything after. I'm currently in the car because I have an interview at basically the #1 choice pick that I have that I want to work at. I have a thing of like 35 questions, 36 questions that I worked on the other night, and so I'm just looking over those. And then I brought like my planner with me, a whole bunch of other crap. I have a portfolio book so I can take notes, and a planner in case they tell me a date and I need to write something down. I just wanted to let you guys in, and I will let you guys know how it goes after. Hopefully I'm not crying or sad. Positive vibes. So it's gonna go great. I'm gonna be myself and we'll see. So people are probably like, why does she have her camera on her steering wheel? All right, I will talk to you guys after my interview. So I had my interview and it was a panel interview of 2 people. So it was the head manager and then it was the assistant manager, and it was different. The one for the emergency department was very different. It was really interesting to go to, and I'm glad that this one was my first one because I'm going to tell you later, but I also had 3 other interviews for the other nurse residencies that I applied for. So this place actually has a whole bunch of nurse residency programs, and pretty much a nurse residency program is for new grads, people who are new, less than a year, who want to go into like a specialty or even med surg, like you just want to go into something. And it's like, this place is like 6 months. You do a lot of like classroom learning. They prepare you basically to do the job. You're with a preceptor, you kind of mimic their schedule and you're with them the entire time. And then after the 6 months is over, you're pretty much on your own, but you still get to like check in with the managers and stuff. But it's a good transition from nursing student to registered nurse, so that you don't feel like you're just being thrown out there like, okay, go be a nurse, go ahead, go save a life. But instead you're like guided through and you're transitioned nicely. So most of the ones that I applied for are 6 months. So I actually have 4 interviews in 2 weeks. So I had one the first week, and then the following week, which was last week or the week before, I don't remember the dates, I had one that was combined together for transitional care and critical care, so like ICU, step-down ICUs. And then the next day, I did those ones back to back. So the next day I had the medical surgical nurse residency interview, and they all were panel. The ED was 2 people, critical care and transitional care was 3 interviewers, and med surg was back to 2 people. interviewing me. So basically I kind of just wanted to tell you guys about my experience. I felt very confident with the last 3. I felt confident with the emergency department one too, but the structure of how the 2 interviewed me was way different than how the other ones did. It was more of like an informal conversation, like, what have you been doing for the past 3 years? Tell us about yourself. And then it was kind of like me asking a whole bunch of questions, which was different because I'm so used to someone else like leading the interview. But in the one for the emergency department, it was kind of me doing it, which is different. So the last 3, they rotated and they asked a whole bunch of questions, just like your weaknesses, your strengths, like all the typical interview questions that you would think of. And then towards the end, they asked, I think 2 or 3 scenario-based situations. So they gave me a nursing scenario and basically was like, what would you do? What would you anticipate the doctor ordering? What are some things you would check and how you would deal with the situation? So it was pretty much all basic scenarios that you definitely went over in nursing school. So I wouldn't like freak out, but I definitely brush up on like what medications to give for certain diseases and conditions, and then what to anticipate the doctor would order, what you should do to help and deal with the situation for the patient. So what I brought with me, I'm extra, so I didn't know how many people were going to be interviewing me, so I bought 5 copies of my resume and I bought 5 copies of my transcripts because they asked for that. I brought a little portfolio, which I have, but it's all over there. It's basically, I got it from Walmart. It is a little portfolio. You can put all your papers on the left, and then it's just a notebook on the side. So before I came, I wrote out my notes. Well, questions, not notes. I wrote out questions that I wanted to ask each of them, because in an interview, you should at least be asking 2 to 3 questions so they seem that you're interested and that you want to learn more about the position and what it has to offer. I came with like 6 to 8 questions because I just had a lot of questions that I wanted to know, and I wanted to really distinguish which ones I liked more and learn more about the hospital. So starting off, so first this hospital had a video interview, so you actually had to do a video interview before you could even get the in-person interview. So if they ended up liking your video interview, then that's when they called you and they wanted to set up an in-person interview. So everyone didn't even get the in-person. So I was really excited after that because I had a video interview before for a tech position and I hated it. I thought it was like the weirdest thing in the whole entire world to just sit in front of a camera and they're gonna watch it and maybe hire you, maybe not. Like, I did not like it, but then after I started YouTube, obviously I'm comfortable talking to myself in the camera in front of me. So this time around I was more comfortable, which I definitely think was a greatest asset in my experience because of doing these YouTube videos. So yeah, I had a video interview and they asked about 5 to 6 questions. Same thing, like, why do you want to be a nurse? Strengths, weaknesses. Have you ever dealt with a time where you had a conflict with a patient, with a coworker? All the different kind of questions, and you can YouTube and research questions for nursing interviews. There's a lot of things out there that I did. How I feel about them, I feel really confident. I actually find out on Monday, so I'm like freaking out because time is winding down. I have a month left of school and your girl needs a job. So I actually find out Monday, so I'm excited to share with you guys the news. I'm trying to figure out which one I would want the most if offered multiple. So yeah, so I'm kind of been going through what each one has to offer and if they were extending an offer to me, if I would accept or which one I would want to accept. But yeah, I feel good about it. I feel really positive. The semester has been going very, very well. So, and the interviews were like amazing. I walked out of each of the interviews feeling so confident, really good about it. And then always make sure that you send like a thank you email when you have an interview with people. I feel like it's really nice so they know that you appreciate the time they took out of their day to meet with you and interview you, even though they are the ones who reached out and wanted to interview with you. Just a nice thank you. So I always ask them for business cards, and I always ask them for their emails if we don't have a business card, so I can jot them down an email. So yeah, I had the interviews about 2 weeks ago, and it takes about 2 weeks because Monday will be probably about 2 weeks since they started interviews. So they email or they call. I don't really know what to do, but they said by the 15th. They actually have the one person told me that they send out their decisions the April 8th through the 10th to HR. So the decisions are already made, so we're kind of just waiting at this point. And some people are saying the earliest you can hear is Friday, but the latest would be Monday. So I'm like, I just want a job, I just want a job. But I thought to share it with you guys that it was nothing crazy about the interviews at all. Very typical. I would suggest watching lots of YouTube videos, doing practice questions, know a little bit about the hospital that you're interviewing at, know their goals, their mission statements. I like to know if they're magnet, not-for-profit, for-profit. Those are all things you can look up. Excuse me. Those are all things you can look up so that you kind of have some knowledge, know how, what kind of resources they offer for nurses. So like if you want to go back to school, how do they do that? Do they do tuition reimbursements? Do they encourage nurses to go back? Do they let you do CUs on site? Do they offer certifications? Just have a little bit of knowledge so it seems like you really did your research and you're interested. So yeah, I just want to do a nice little short little video telling you guys about my 4 interviews for nursing positions as a registered nurse and a nurse residency program. And I hope to be back with exciting news. Just wanted to tell you guys that, and I hope that you learned something. I hope that this was helpful for someone. And if you have any questions that are specific about nursing interviews or anything you want to know, if you have an interview coming up or you're just preparing for interviews for the future, even for tech positions, just comment below and let me know, and I will do my best to answer. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that push notification button so you can get notified every time I upload a video, and stay tuned for Saturdays with Simply K. Bye guys.